Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SI Talk und bei mir Peter Tallman, er ist Chef von Klondike Gold und er wird uns jetzt ein Update geben vom letzten Jahr. Das letzte Interview haben wir auch auf der PDEC gemacht. Ja, und ein Jahr vergangen, schauen wir mal, was es Neues gibt. Peter, thank you to have time. As I said in my German introduction, we do last year interview here also from the PDEC.
Yep.
The beautiful Toronto, nice warm weather, and
blowing and cold.
Blowing
Yes.
and cold. So like a little bit like the market.
Somewhat, yeah.
So it's also not really the nicest weather what we can have.
But it's about to turn, like the weather here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So what the company do the last year?
A lot, really. I mean, in the general picture, for the first time we did some really advanced geoscience, so technical mapping of the entire Klondike district. So for the first time ever, we did a number of different surveys that covered the entire property, so it's nearly 600 square kilometers of various types of mapping. Out of that came a number of really significant results. We discovered new areas of mineralization, large ones that had never been recognized or identified before. And also the biggest one result is a system of faulting that had also never been recognized before, and that's the system of faults that introduces the gold into the Klondike.
Okay.
And
Wow.
so for the first time we have a scientific and technical explanation for why the gold is there and where we can find more of it.
So that's mean for this year is now you find more from this stuff. Oh, that's the plan.
That's well, last year again, so beyond that we did drilling, and so we already had 3 significant zones of mineralization, and we really focused on one of them to keep expanding it with the intention that we're trying to estimate how many ounces of gold are there. So it's systematic drilling, and we were successful. All those holes hit 2.
What mean for you significant?
Oh, it hits something that is potentially economic. So at Lone Star, which is our biggest target, we drilled 90 holes. 85 of those have mineralization that has potentially economic grades over interesting mining widths.
But when you come into grades, what this mean for grades? How many grams we talking about?
Some of the last holes, for instance, a 1 gram over 100 meters.
Wow.
This is at surface. All these holes the mineralization starts at surface and goes to, so far we've only really drilled down to about 50 meters vertical. And it's defining a volume of rock that contains quite a bit of gold in it.
No, especially when it started from surface, it's an Open-Pit-Scenario.
Yes.
And with 1 gram, you are absolutely fine. You're really normally, before you not have any economic studies.
That's right.
But from my point of view, when you know all this stuff what going on in the last 20 years, with 1 gram, you are on the good side.
We've now drilled 900 meters at 50 meter centers back to 200 meters, so a grid, and we know the mineralization keeps going. We have soils and rocks and other drill holes out to 3 kilometers, so we have 900 meters done, and we have another 2 kilometers plus to go, and that remains open. So that's just one zone. And again, I think last year at PDAC I was saying, hey, we have multiple structural zones that were 5 kilometers each, and there are 4 of them in the Bonanza area. This is one. We're showing that it is maybe 5 kilometers, and that in its own right is significant. We have multiple targets.
Is it not sometimes then a problem that you have too many possible potential areas, and then it's hard to push going forward?
You've been talking to some of our significant shareholders. We've identified too many targets, they say, because it means if we go and try to evaluate those new ones, we take people and money and time and effort away from trying to expand the resources that we already have identified. The problem is some of those targets seem better than any of the ones we're already on. And so I have to screen them to some degree. But yeah, what we're going to do is continue focusing on what we have, because that's the ultimate objective, is to reach at least 2 million ounces of gold in a resource estimate, get there as fast as we can possibly do that for as little money as possible. And at that point, I think we get a re-rate in the market, but we can start looking at other things, like all these other targets would then expand that base.
This is the background for this question then. It's really tough then to reach value on the market.
Yep.
So when you're not focused on some areas and bring this to resource calculations, and this is really it's a tough situation. It's a good situation. It's a very good situation. Then a lot of companies has not really so many projects or so many areas what they can work on it. But on the other hand, you must choose which one you go forward.
Well, and originally 4 years ago, there was no gold known in the Klondike. There's 20 million ounces in gravels, but none had been found in bedrock. And so we were everyone questioned, well, there's no gold there, whatever. So we've proven there's considerable gold. And now the question is valuation. And the only way you can really evaluate it is publish an ounce resource. Absolutely. How many ounces do you have? Well, we haven't got there yet. And so these things take time, and we're working on it.
So what do you plan now for this year? Exactly.
More drilling.
More drilling.
So at least 5,000 to 6,000 meters, which is 50 to 60 drill holes. We're going to target some higher grade mineralization. So we have other high grade targets, but we're going to expand the footprint of the open pit material too, and also then do some limited work on these new targets just to see how big they really are. Are they good? Most of the 7 of them have never had a rock sample taken from them, and so we really need to go look. It's exciting.
Yeah, for sure it is. But is this also a business model or a concept that you take one of the news area and joint venture this with the other one, so that you can move forward these projects too, but with the money from other companies?
We've thought of it. What we need to do that is first prove that one of them contains 2 million ounces. At that point, that joint venture area would be attractive to others to come in, and we'd consider it for sure. But again, we're still, it's early stage to prove to the rest of the world that we have a lot of gold. And so it's a chicken and egg thing.
Yeah, so that's mean more drilling, coming up with a resource calculation, and then you will see what going forward. Maybe then this one project you bring forward for sure, and then the other ones maybe you use other monies to develop this.
It may be so good that a major comes and takes us over, which is really what we're trying to achieve ultimately.
With 2 million ounces, it's and this blue sky potential from the other ones, it's would be logical.
Yes, that's exactly. This is what we hope. This is what, talking to the industry professionals, that's what we should do to achieve that result.
Do you see the first interest from the bigger ones?
Yes.
They are looking?
Yes.
Okay. Peter, thank you for the update. Maybe we can do the next update a little bit earlier, not next year on the PDAC. Maybe we find a spot maybe you come over in Germany and we find one, or we do through Skype. We can do Skype too.
It might be warmer that way.
Yes, that's for sure. Ja. Das war ein Update. Klondike Gold. Sehr gute Bohrergebnisse. Was wir immer schon gewusst haben, ich meine, dort ist sehr viel Gold, das wissen wir. Das wissen wir auch von diversen Shows. Das Problem ist, man hat eigentlich bis jetzt noch nie gewusst, woher das wirklich kommt. Sie haben letztes Jahr eine geophysikalische Studie gemacht, wo sie jetzt eine Ahnung haben, woher kommt eigentlich das ganze Gold. Und sie sind bei diesem the geophysical study was over 600 square kilometers.
Yes.
Also diese geophysischen Studien waren über 600 Quadratkilometer und da sind sehr viele neue Areas aufgetaucht, die noch nie irgendwie bearbeitet worden sind. Und die ist natürlich jetzt das Luxusproblem, wo konzentriert man sich darauf, denn man kann natürlich bei vielen Projekten sich gleich einmal sehr viel verlaufen, würde ich mal sagen, und nicht sich konzentrieren auf eine Sache. Und das geht dann sehr schnell ins Geld. Exploration kostet viel Geld und dann verliert man den Fokus und dann kriegt man eigentlich keinen Marktwert dafür. Sie wollen sich jetzt auf ein Projekt konzentrieren. Ihr Ziel ist, auf 2 Millionen Unzen eine Ressource zu bestätigen. Dazu braucht es natürlich viel mehr Bohrungen. Bohrungen werden heuer in diesem Jahr auch weitere gemacht. Sie bohren nur oberflächennah und die Vererzung beginnt auch direkt an der Oberfläche. Ganz wichtig ist natürlich ganz wichtig für ein Open-Pit-Szenario, weil das natürlich die kostengünstigste Methode ist. Die durchschnittlichen Gehalte liegen bei 1 Gramm, was für Open-Pit-Szenario bei Starting on the Surface extrem gut ist. Und heuer sollen wieder mehr gebohrt werden. Am Ende soll irgendwann einmal eine Ressourcenschätzung rausschauen und natürlich die anderen Gebiete wird auch ein bisschen Arbeit gemacht. Allerdings, und das hängt auch davon ab, könnten die dann auch dementsprechend irgendwann einmal in ein Joint Venture von einer anderen Firma aufgenommen werden oder es kommt ein Major vorher schon, der möglicherweise die ganze Company schluckt. Das ist eigentlich ein großes Ziel und dann war natürlich meine Frage, sprechen Sie auch schon mit den Großen, haben die Großen schon ein Auge auf das Unternehmen geworfen, schauen Sie sich schon die Ergebnisse an? Er sagt, natürlich sind Sie mit den Großen schon im Gespräch. Und ja, das war es, quasi ein Update von der PDAC 2019 März in Toronto. Thank you.
Thank you very much.